All right, good evening, everybody. I've been in about 6 of these 1 hour long type presentation things all day today, so my voice is shot. So I'm so glad Charlie is going to present tonight, but I'm Bill Tobin. I'm the membership chair for the district. And on this particular instance, I'm the tech guy. So please mute yourselves. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. Charlie will get to them when he sees fit, which will probably be either during the presentation or at the end. He's kind of keeping it up to the flow of things. So without further ado, let me introduce Charlie Harrison. He's a member of the Rotary Club of Roseville. He's also a CFP, founder of Sequoia Advisory Group, and a graduate of Cal State University Chico, which is always cool. He now holds his, well, if you're in the business, you'll know all this, Series 7 and 66 securities licenses. And I know those aren't easy to get. So he's grown up in a military family, so he knows a thing or two about international, like Rotary International and Living International. And he's been a big asset to the membership committee for the last several years. We really, really appreciate everything you've done, Charlie. So without further introduction, because it's the best one you've had since the last one you had, which will soon be this one. Please take it away, Charlie.
Thanks, Bill. And Bill, if you could help with one thing during this program, is the chat feature. Like if you could just help me manage that. I want to make sure we answer questions along the way if we can, and you can kind of help me with that flow, but certainly answer questions before we're done tonight. So thank you all for joining this evening. I've done multiple membership presentations in my time with Rotary, typically face-to-face in a room with a bunch of Rotarians, as we're used to, but this is the new, I guess, version of presenting, and hopefully one day we'll be able to see each other and get back together and do these things like we used to do in the old days. I literally sent a song to a member of our club this morning. I forwarded it to him. It's Old Days by Chicago. I don't know if you've ever heard that song, but I can't wait to get back to old days. So with that, we'll get rolling. And I want to be mindful of your time. We will be hard stopping at 6:15 tonight for sure, guaranteed without a doubt. We will just disconnect and move along. But before we do that, I hope to add some value and maybe just a couple of ideas that you can take back to your club or your leadership team, and somehow, some way take a little piece or a nugget, I like to call them, back and do something with it. So anytime I go to listen to a presentation, I just want to have a couple takeaways. So hopefully that's what you'll get out of today. And I put this note and I highlighted it in blue because in 2020, in March of 2020, the world changed. But I want to make sure that we understand there's been change, but some things have not changed. And what I mean by that comment is people are attracted to Rotary for a bunch of different reasons, but there's certain things in 2019 that are still applicable today in 2021, pandemic or no pandemic. So I want to make sure we don't get lost in having to think about membership in the pandemic world. I think there's certain things that will never change about who we are and what we have to offer. Just a quick note, I know there's not a huge group, but if you could just tap a question in the chat icon, Bill's going to help me get to those. Thanks for being on mute. I think we have a small enough group that if you really have a burning question, maybe you just raise your hand and we can have a quick conversation. So the goal, these objectives that we're going to cover tonight are these pieces that I kind of want to frame. Is we're going to talk about a vibrant club culture, and then we're going to review why members join, stay, and leave Rotary. And I'm not sure if all of you are aware, I know some of you are, that Rotary International did an extensive survey, I don't know, a couple years ago, where they literally spent a ton of money trying to get feedback from existing Rotarians, former Rotarians, prospective Rotarians, and all of that has been rolled out to the clubs over the years. And so the information I'm sharing with you is not current as of last week, but it's fairly current. And then we're also going to talk about attracting new members. And I'm happy to say that some of the ideas and best practices that I'm going to share tonight are not from the Sacramento area or from District 5180 or even from the West Coast or even our zone. So some of the information I'm going to share with you are from different parts of the country. And I always think, and Bill and I talked about this last week, is, you know, sharing best practices from, you know, for me to tell you all the great, wonderful things we're doing in 5180. Well, there could be something that a club in London or in, you know, Dubai are doing great that we can learn from and take away. So we'll share some of that information. Here's the first one. This is what the Rotary Club of Rochester, Minnesota. I think that's where the Mayo Clinic is. Anyway, so some of the stuff that I'll just highlight right here at the end of my presentation, I'm going to take you through the links to get on my Rotary to get to the membership resources on my Rotary where you can actually learn about creating a value statement. So they rewrote their value statement. They introduced creative meeting formats. And so think when you see those 4 words, introduce creative meeting formats, that can mean anything. It could mean, you know, a hybrid meeting where you could dial in via Zoom. You could, you know, maybe all your meetings are on Facebook. Maybe some of your meetings are on Monday nights. Maybe some of your meetings are on Friday afternoon. You know, so all of these different, you know, ideas that could attract and help retain members are completely open. I've been in Rotary since 2014, and I can tell you from 14 to today, it's not a long time compared to some of our members, but things are different from 14 to today. I mean, RI has really opened their eyes and minds to new ideas. Relaxed attendance requirements. If you said relaxed attendance requirements at a Rotary Club meeting 20 years ago, they would have thrown you out of the room. But today there are relaxed attendance requirements, and that's appealing to some business professionals and people that are working and running their own business, working for, you know, corporations, trying to manage a family and kids and school and all this other stuff. Think about managing a young family and trying to be involved in Rotary, and the kids don't go to school and all those things that people are juggling in life today. That would be a big appeal for some of those people to have relaxed attendance requirements. Communicated openly with members. I think sometimes, let's say you have a prospective member that comes to a Rotary social and there's 15 Rotarians and 1 prospective member. Those 15 Rotarians typically get into their little cliques and catch up in their little groups over a beer or two. And maybe that prospective member feels ostracized from the get-go. And so, you know, communicating and talking and welcoming prospective members along with current members, I think, is important. So what members want, and this is directly from the survey, they want local community service, they want friendship and fellowship, they want professional development opportunities. Oops, let me go back there. So think about that. When I first joined Rotary, there was a lot of talk about international and programs outside the community, nationally and internationally. But from the survey, these are the top 3 things of what members want. And so, do they want an opportunity to support a well project in Bangladesh? Of course. But the top 3 are local, friendship and fellowship, and then professional development opportunities. Like, think about a professional development like mentor program you could institute in your club where you know, some retired bankers or retired CPAs or retired financial advisors or, you know, people that are winding down their careers could literally take a young professional and tuck them under their arm, not only with Rotary, but help them develop, you know, personally and professionally in the community and introduce them to the leaders that are in your club. That would be a huge, in my opinion, if I was, you know, 30 years old and starting out in my career, that would be a huge addition. And I think that's easy for all of us. All of us have leaders, community leaders in our clubs. but I think, forming some sort of, program that fosters that is a good thing. And friendship and fellowship is a big part of why I love Rotary, and local projects are a big part of why I love Rotary as well. So why members leave? The number one reason, believe it or not, is cost and/or time. So remember, I always tell people that Rotary is not a cheap club to belong to. And when I was the membership director of the Rotary Club of Roseville, I would lay it out and really tell people, almost, making sure that they were completely aware and not trying to push them away, but being very transparent about, cost and/or time commitments. You know how it is when you get a new Rotarian who's gregarious and engaged. The next thing you know, they're sitting on, 6 committees, and they've been asked to get into the leadership channel. And, the next thing you know, they're spending, 20 or 30 hours a week on Rotary, and their job or maybe their relationships start to suffer. So just keep that in mind when you're bringing on or talking to prospective new Rotarians. 23% leave because of club environment. So this is the second largest, I'll call it a problem with keeping Rotarians. And then 19% unmet expectations. So once again, I think that goes back to the critical piece in the process, I think, is the membership chair, but then also not putting everything on that person, having them have a committee that helps them, foster the contact, following up on leads, literally someone drops a business card. Are we calling and emailing and trying to, set up a time for coffee? Are we doing those things? And when we're doing those things, are we painting this very, cheerful, rosy picture, or are we painting the truth? And I think that the 3 can go away in fast fashion if we're just completely honest and upfront and transparent from the get-go. Let's see, attracting new members. So this slide right here, I hope will generate some questions and/or some comments. These are some things that I think are easy to fix, but they require management. And so when I say they're easy to fix, but you have to keep up with them and require management, is the club and meeting details are up to date. So if someone clicks on, everybody's going to go to Rotary International, and everybody's going to go to your specific club website before they come visit. They're going to visit the district website. They're going to do all these things to basically check us out before they come and visit with us. And so if the details and the dates and the photos and the projects, and it's all just old and tired information, and I mean, I've had, people say, well, I went to the club at this day for lunch, but you guys weren't there. And that's a fail on our club's part by, not putting that out there and telling people that we weren't on site, that we were at a different location. So that takes some work. And I think that, everybody has members in the club that can help with those projects, but maybe put someone just in charge, or have a team that's just in charge with, website content and, creation and management. In this day and age, I think social media can be, there's some automation that you can do there, but still the content has to be fresh and exciting and new. You can't just, push out social media of some tree planting project that you did, 2 years ago. I think it's really, keeping things fresh and new and exciting. And that's a great way to get interest from people, by just having current information out there and stuff that looks appealing that people might want to get involved with. I also believe in big time in partnership and collaboration. I always say that you don't have to create a bunch of new ideas. You can find new ideas and then make them your own. And I think that the Rotary clubs in this district and Rotary clubs all over the world are open to all of that collaboration. You just have to reach out and tap them on the shoulder. I had a great contact in Minnesota when I was the membership chair for my club, and we were going back and forth on ideas, and this is what they were doing, and these are problems they had, and then I shared a best practice, and then he shared a best practice, and we just kept going back and forth. And then I just cascaded that information from this club in Minnesota to my club, and we came up with ideas and things to do and how to improve. So I think that's a big part of who Rotary is, and I know that Rotary welcomes that partnership and collaboration on all things, not just membership. Socials and networking, this goes back to what members or prospective members want from a connection to Rotary. And I think that we need to be mindful when we have a social about bringing prospective members on the size of the social. And this goes back to, if you have 10 Rotarians who've been friends for 10 years, and there's one prospective Rotarian, that might not go so well. So you might do better, meeting a prospective Rotarian with 2 or 3 other Rotarians over coffee or lunch than, meeting at a bar to have beers. So just be mindful of not intentionally, kind of keeping people out, but unintentionally just spending time with your friends and catching up and having a prospective Rotarian say, wow, these people are pretty tight friends. I don't know if I'll ever, work my way into this group. So be mindful, but I also think it's important to schedule socials, talk about socials, announce socials at your meetings, post pictures of socials. And socials can be, obviously in COVID, they can, you can have a coffee social, you can have a weekend social, you can have an evening social, you can have a trivia social, you can have all kinds, you can have a Frisbee golf social, you can do all kinds of stuff. So I don't think there's any, sort of framework there. It's just very open and inviting. And then the follow-up is a critical point to actually bringing people into membership, having them complete the application, running it up through the board. I think that the follow-up, it's easy to lose people just by, 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by, then you finally contact them on the 3rd week and they join Lions Club or something. And that's great that they found a club, but maybe they could have been Rotarians if we simply had followed up. So with that, I'll take a breath, pause, and see if there's any questions. Bill, do you see anything in the queue?
No, there's nothing in the chat box right now. It's great stuff, though. Are there any questions? Now's the time to maybe throw them in the chat box, or I think we're a small enough group if you want to unmute and ask Charlie a question, what we've covered so far.
Sure.
Charlie, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead,
I
Adam.
can.
Hi, this is Adam. So I'm a new member myself, and club had asked me if I'd step up and work as the new member coordinator and membership coordinator. And one of the things I've worked with a few other organizations, and this is something that I've seen that's not just Rotary as a whole, but a lot of service organizations is obviously the demographics are starting to and it's starting to advance in that aspect. I really like what you had mentioned about too, was about the partnership and collaboration. So what would you suggest being able to reach out to? Would you suggest partnering with other clubs regionally or even across region in that aspect to try and figure out what is the best way to drive new membership?
Great question, Adam. So I would say start with the district leadership, because the people that are in district leadership roles know people from around the world. And so I'm not talking about Atlanta or New York. I'm talking about literally the planet. And so I would lean on, some of the leadership at the district level, past leaders, past district governors, those sorts of people have been in and around and been exposed to a bunch of different people. That's how I got connected to the guy in Minnesota, was through some district membership conversations. And then it was a connection to this and a connection to that. And, and then it just sort of happens. And I think that's a good place to start. I think within your own club, then the club introduces you to, well, you need to talk to Bill Tobin, and then Bill says, okay, let's have coffee, and then Bill says you need to talk to so-and-so, and then it just goes from there.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure. And I'm always available, and as is Bill, and whatever ideas we can share, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and I just put in the chat box, just before I get going here, I put some stuff in the chat box. That's the link to the brand new, you're the first people to see it because we just got this out a couple days ago, membership chair, but it's really membership resource page on the district website. And there's a lot of good ideas there. If you don't have a membership plan, for example, there's a one-page membership plan. You can fill it out, real simple, and lots of other things. I know Adam was kind of looking at how do I cultivate members? Well, there's a 30 leads and 30 minutes worksheet in there that you should put your club through it. Just one club meeting, and it's got all the directions on how to do that. And you can generate up to 30 leads per member. If you add that up and you get maybe 2 or 3 from each person's list, you probably, if you're like my club, you doubled your size. So anyways, take it away, Charlie. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So, and trust me, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you so much content that it's going to make your head spin. So what RI is famous for is giving you this. My advice is to, hopefully you guys can see me, my advice is to take all the stuff that RI gives you and try to bring it down to here and get a couple things that you really like and work on those, because RI gives you so much and it's great. It's like this massive library, the Library of Congress, for crying out loud, that you can just grab all this stuff, but it could make your head spin because there's so much content. So I'll share with you at the end how to get to all this great content. Anyway, here is the Rotary Club of North Cobb, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And these are some things, and I love this. If you look right here, it says, together we have fun. And that, that, at least in our club, we have a 5-way test. And having fun is the fifth part of the what we call the 5-way test. So a couple things: engagement around new members' passion projects. So maybe Adam, this could be good for you as a new member and some other new members. What are they passionate about? Just because you've done a seafood dinner every year in February, or a spaghetti feed or something like that, there's nothing wrong with those legacy programs that have worked and that people are like. But what if someone new comes into the club and says, why don't we do this? They need to have a voice, and whether that happens or not, they should have a voice to be listened to. And that could be a really exciting thing for a new member to potentially create a recurring project that creates a lot of energy and fun and works well for the club. Hybrid meetings, I think that is critical to offer hybrid meetings. If your meetings are not on Facebook, I think they should be on Facebook. It's very simple to do. You do need, some sort of spend. So somewhere in the budget, you do need to invest in some good technology. And I think that's kind of the future. Even Bill said he was up traveling in Canada, and he would get on our Facebook meetings, and it was a makeup meeting for the Rotary Club of Roseville. But it doesn't just have to be Facebook. I think that when someone walks into a meeting, the energy and vibe of technology and audio and visual and the speakers, and when the speaker's there and people can't hear the speaker, so all that stuff matters. And I don't have any savvy or any forte in that world, but there's people in our club that do. And so they're the ones that are tapped for that project. And all of you have someone in your club that either knows someone or they themselves is good with this and can help you in that effort. Multiple projects instead of one big one or 2 big ones. Maybe there's 1 or 2 big ones, and then there's some smaller projects. Maybe there's like, look at this group right here. There's 2, 4, 6, there's 8 of them. And it looks like they're, doing some big things right there. So those sorts of things can be, the big project drives the bus, and then a lot of these other little projects maybe inspire and do some good in the community. I think the strong social media presence we talked about earlier, obviously that's important, especially in this day and age. And then creating a fun and engaging atmosphere. Once again, that whole fun piece. I love to go see my friends on Thursday. That's how I look at a Rotary Club meeting. I go see my friends. And I meet new friends, and I catch up with people, and I, talk about their kids and their husbands and their wives, and we talk about Rotary, but we talk about so much more. And all of you know what I'm talking about. That's a big part of why I know I'll die with my Rotary pen on my lapel. I'll be a Rotarian for life. It was, inspired through my family, but it's just something that becomes part of you. Uh-oh, my light just went off. Hang on. Come on. Okay, sorry. I wasn't moving, I guess, enough that my light just turned on. All right, we're moving on. So I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to copy this, and we're going to watch a quick 2-minute video real quick. There we go, here, here, here.
As Rotary, we often ask ourselves, how do we grow personally, professionally, and organizationally? The answer is simple. To grow Rotary, we need more Rotary clubs.
Charlie, we can't see the video.
You can?
Town is a city of.
I can hear it, but we can't see it. You need to switch your screen share.
But there are hundreds of other people of action, just like us, who are uniquely qualified to become Rotary members. They share the same drive and represent the values and fundamentals of a Rotary member. So why aren't they members? Well, the current club meets on Monday. There are leaders in any town who can't meet on Monday. By excluding this segment, the potential members in any town has shrunk. Now consider, what if the meeting is at noon on Monday? There are people who can meet on Monday, but can't meet at noon. So now we have a smaller audience for Rotary in any town. Of the remaining group, some aren't interested in a club with a sit-down lunch and speakers. They are passionate about service, but aren't interested in a traditional club experience. And that is okay. The Rotary Club of any town isn't doing anything wrong. It just doesn't appeal to particular segments of the community. And if we're going to thrive for years to come, we must adapt and embrace change. In any town, we have an opportunity to expand because potential members are everywhere. More than half of the eligible people are prospective Rotary members, waiting to make a bigger impact in their community. But what Rotary Club exists for them? If any town creates new clubs at new times and new places, the hidden potential for Rotary will be revealed. As people of action, we must broaden our reach and provide opportunities to all leaders in the community. Together, all of us can grow Rotary.
All right, so let's see if I can figure this out and get back to the PowerPoint. Share. So by the way, the first part of that video, all you missed was a bunch of balls rolling around. Here we go. Let's look at this. So if you have a pen and a piece of paper, write down this. So basically, I just went to My Rotary. So I'm at myrotary.org login, and it pre-populated my user, my password. Can you guys see the screen, Bill?
Yes, it's in edit mode again if you want to go full screen with it.
But can you see the, hang on a second. Can you
We see your slide deck.
Okay, so here it is. Boom.
There we go. Now we're at My Rotary.
Okay, so this is myrotary.org. If you look up here, you guys can see that. And it pre-populated my login, so I'm logged in as Charlie Harrison. So write this down. If you go to this page and log into My Rotary, go to Member Center, and then you got to have a little mouse savvy here. You got to go and just bring over here to Resources and Reference, and then scroll up and click on Membership Materials. So it's Member Center, Resources and Reference, membership materials. And with that, it takes you to this wonderful little video that we just watched. But it's much, much more than that. So featured resource just over here, this club planning assistant, and I'm not going to go down all the rabbit holes. I'm just going to show you this page and show you how much content and how awesome RI is to give you this huge library of content to help you not only think about if your club, I think the average club is 22, 23 members, right? So you're in any town USA and you have a Rotary club and it has, let's say, 30 members. And then someone has an idea of what if we had a club that met on, Thursday evening instead of Thursday at noon, or whatever you, from that video, whatever you take from that. So let's say you have 30 members and then a new club opens and 5 of those members leave the existing club to go to the new club. And then a year later, there's 30 members in the old club and 20 members in the new club. You went from 30 Rotarians to 50 Rotarians in your town. So sometimes I think that, like the Passport Club, when those, Passport Clubs, they started coming around, there was a little bit of a sense like, well, then, all we're doing is moving 5 Rotarians from one club to another club. Well, that's not the case. And I don't think that's the right way to think about it. I think it's just the ability to potentially get more people. And I think that's the value of that 2-minute video. And I would encourage you to show that at your club and to talk about, 30 members is great, and losing 5 to then gain 20 is a good thing. And I think everybody in your club would agree. So as you scroll down, this is all literally when you click assess your club, it takes you to a whole nother page of links and things to do to assess your club. So I always say at the beginning, if you feel like you've got an opportunity in your club, you don't want to just start charging after it. You want to pause, you want to assess, you want to ask questions, you want to say, okay, here are our opportunities, and then create a plan on how you're going to attack those opportunities. So this is a great way to start. This is a whole link on engaging current members, right? Every former member used to be a member and they left for a reason. Sometimes they're, sometimes people pass away, sometimes people move, all kinds of things happen. The thing that bothers me is when people just become disengaged. Something happened and we kind of lost them somehow, some way. Connect with prospective members. There's a whole content library about connecting with prospective members. Follow up on your leads. This is for membership chairs. Bill can write a book on this and help any of your membership chairs with the following up on leads. Make new members feel welcome. There's a whole section about how you make new members feel welcome. Develop your club, start a new club, stay current. Click on that link right there and you can get all kinds of good information. Not sure where to start, boom, click that link. So here's the assess your club. Look at all of the different links underneath here. And then look at engaging current members. Look at all of the different links underneath here. So there's just tons and tons of information. So by this, going back to my comment earlier, if you have this huge library, you can really make your head spin, and then you kind of feel lost, and then maybe you have, you're kind of, paralyzed and not knowing what to do. I say just, start with a couple things and come up with a couple ideas, make those your own and have fun with them, and then bring them to your club and see if the club embraces what you're trying to do, instead of bringing some massive new overhaul and trying to change the world in one fell swoop. I think it's better to just, discover some of these things, like a club brochure, or we created little business cards that literally say, come join us for lunch, it's on us, and it has the date, Thursdays at noon and the location. And the front of the card is what is Rotary, and then it's that snippet about what is Rotary. So we can leave those behind at projects in the community. We can leave them behind at fun runs, at different projects we have. Any type of engagement we have in the community, we can leave those as takeaways. And hopefully people will have such a good time and a good feeling about Rotary that they'll come join us for lunch. Because I think that is the key, at least in my opinion, is when you get someone to come to the club and they are immersed with people, meeting them and welcoming them and talking to them and sharing with them, and there's, a great atmosphere and there's a good speaker and they're just like, wow, I want to be part of this. That's the sell, so to speak. And so I always say the key to getting new members is to get them to a meeting. And then you're on stage, so to speak. Here's the follow-up, or follow your membership candidates. That's the whole thing about leads that Bill can help you with. Make new members feel welcome. There's a whole section about that. Develop your club, start a new club, stay current. Look at all these tools and Rotary support and district membership community or committee, and just all kinds of great stuff. Okay, so I think that right there would keep anybody who is new or interested in membership busy for at least a year. With that, I'll go back to my PowerPoint and share. And there we go. So that's my point. Don't get overwhelmed. Find some things that work and have fun driving membership. I did include the 5180 site right there. I think that's what you put in the chat feature, right, Bill?
Well, yeah, but that's the parent site. That's the landing page. But what I put in the chat is a strictly membership page within that site.
Yeah.
There's also a link to what you just showed, so you don't have to go all the way around Rotary. There's a direct link. You do have to be signed into My Rotary or have that automatic registration sign in like you did, Charlie. But you can get right to that membership page from that district membership resource page.
Perfect.
So good stuff.
Yeah, and I think that is the best way to maybe wrap up is to talk about like what are some best practices, what are some things that are working, especially in 2020, in the beginning of 2021, in the weird wild wacky time that we're in as a world right now. Are there any things that people on the call are doing that are working, that are showing some promise that you're excited about, or anybody want to share? Mary Jo, we always know you're doing something new and exciting.
Well, I have a small club, remember, Charlie? So it makes it a little difficult, but new and exciting stuff we have going on right now is the Festival of Learning. It's a great place to get valuable information. And if you have attended this session and it's your first one and we're in week 3, you need to attend a few more, because I've been to every session and there has been fabulous information. So you never know where you're going to get that little snippet that's going to work.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I trying to change the world by snapping your fingers certainly will never work. But if you, at least in my experience, if there's little things that you can get some people in your club excited about, that will translate to someone going to work or going out with friends and talking about their experience, or what the Rotary Club of I don't know, Loomis is doing, or what's your club called, Mary Jo? Loomis Sunset or Sunrise?
Loomis Sunset is no longer with us.
Okay,
And we're Placer Valley Sunrise.
Placer Valley Sunrise.
Yep, and we're going through a logo change. And also I put in the chat one of the things you had on that one page that I've subscribed to is the Membership Minute. It has great information and you get it emailed to you, and it's just little snippets. So if you subscribe to that, it's a really good tool for learning about what you're doing with membership.
Yeah, I think so too. And I still get it, from being, it just comes to me. And so all, these little, ideas, a little sharing, and like if you throw that 2-minute video up at your meeting, all that is like doing. When I was the membership chair of my club, I would always at every meeting at least get up and say something about membership. And it could be a 30-second shout out to somebody. It could be an update. It didn't have to be, you know, assembly. It didn't have to be anything. It's just constantly talking to your club about membership. And not, you know, it doesn't have to be what hey, we said we're going to have, you know, 21 members by, you know, August 15th, and we're only at 18. What's going on? You know, people don't want to hear that. But you can talk about some success or some new member, or, you know, spotlight, you know, highlight a new member. You know, the Passport Club does that really well on social media. I see that out there where they're literally highlighting a new member, and they're asking them, you know, like, what's their favorite food, you know, what's their favorite book, you know, that sort of stuff. You could do that on social media, you know, very easily, and everybody would get to know people that maybe, you know, we still have Rotarians that don't feel comfortable coming to a meeting. We just started doing in-person meetings again in a limited capacity, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. So there's people that were on Zoom that are still coming into Facebook, that some people aren't coming to and so the one way to connect everybody is through social media. So that's just another way to think about keeping the whole club in tune with membership, is just say something about membership at every meeting.
It looks like Denise wants to say something. She's unmuted.
I was just going to say, our club's membership has grown a lot over COVID. I feel like because more younger members now are able to attend online better than they were maybe in person, because of getting kids to school or kids being home. And I feel like we've really gained a lot of good new members that really want to get involved in the community. So I think that's the wave of the future, and that we all need some like major training on how to get our hybrid meetings going. Even though we've had a lot of training, I feel like, you know, we need some in-person training.
Yeah, that's a great point, Denise. And that is like, when people, I always like to find good in everything. I'm a very optimistic, glass half full person. It's just who I am. But I like to find good. So when I think of COVID, I can think of 100 good things that came from COVID. You can think of 100 good things, or you can think of millions of people that lost their lives, bad things that came from COVID. But if you think about some of the good, that's one of the good things. You know, one of the good things is my dad, who turns 88 in July, knows how to FaceTime. He didn't know how to FaceTime, but he knows how to FaceTime. I'm going to see him on Thursday. I haven't seen him since Christmas of 2019. So anyway, you can find good in everything, and then you can accentuate that. And so if that's working for you, I couldn't agree more. Denise is trying to find a way to make it even better, and then better, and then better, and then attract more members. So that's great.
Hey, and Charlie, each month, Charlie, I've been doing the monthly membership forum. And it's a chance for membership chairs across our district to do exactly what we're doing right now. We'll throw some topics out there, and it's just best practices, lessons learned, sharing successes, building upon our challenges. And it's been very beneficial to the club membership chairs who have been there. And it's so who gets the invite for this is your club membership chair, if that person is listed. If not, the club president is getting that information. So hit one of those two up. If you're neither, that's okay. You know, the more idea sharers and the more people who can benefit from it, the stronger our district clubs will be from A to Z, although I don't think we have a club with Z in it. Anyhow, we are running up to your time limit there, Charlie, or at least your self-imposed time limit. Just wanted to remind you that if there's last questions, or if you want.
Sure. If there are any final questions, when Rob and I met for lunch, Rob Sachs and I met for lunch, and we talked about this, he just I don't know. I don't like what I call Zoom fatigue. Maybe more than anyone on this Zoom call. But 45 minutes of me is probably enough to make you guys want to hit leave meeting. So if there's no more questions, I'll leave the meeting, and I hope to see all of you in person sometime in the not so distant future.
Charlie, would you mind if I gave you a call?
Adam, please, my contact info was on there. Did you see that?
Perfect. I think, are you still at the office?
Yeah, but I'm walking out. I got a 50-year-old birthday neighbor that my wife is dragging me to that I have to be there. So,
I'm not.
but send me here. I'm gonna go back. Well, where is my contact info? Hang on. Sorry, I don't mean to make you guys dizzy there.
You were there. There you go.
There it is. There you go, Adam.
Perfect.
And that is my office line. I'll be in the office tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Mary Jo. You guys are awesome.